have that relationship. Yeah, very good. What are you drinking there?
Lemon ice water. That's pretty
Mm,
much all I drink.
I'm drinking apple juice. Look, I have a pea sample.
Yeah, there you go. You're drinking urine. But yeah, no, and
Right?
preparing. I had a few people I've been sharing about you know food on. I've been calling food on a budget, but to eat on a budget. But again, like you and me talked after last live, it's a practical thing that in a way affects everybody, and you're going to get to share from your vantage point, which is more of what you've done vocationally and to help people for the last many years. And I'll probably interject part of my background as a chef and
Good.
being involved with food. And I've done some,
Yeah.
I did some things with single moms a long time ago where we had single moms with, a couple young kids, like there were, I don't, a dozen or whatever, but all they were buying were crap dinner and stuff like that. But that's all they can afford. So we have to talk about, this is, like I said, 15, 20 years ago,
Mm.
talked about, empowering them to like not think you can't cook, but show you how to do simple, good food that's healthy.
Exactly. You're so right. And mind over matter, when you're led to believe or you have limited beliefs that healthy eating is too expensive, it is a different price point, but it's also how you consume it. It's how you purchase it. It's funny because when I'm at like so before I come to this, I coach a workshop here in Sarnia based on wellness, and I always talk to them about I have different hats that I wear. I have frugal Michele, and then I have my wellness coach, Michele. They're at odds sometimes because I can find cheap chips. Or I frugal Michele because I've, been poor, still poor, but a different kind of poor. But, so many people are struggling, and it's so easy to get caught into the buy one, get one, or get the big bag, waste the big bag, right? Like that sort of thing. It's really, I think, easy. Are you okay over there? You're
Yeah, I'm just so I can look. I've got this. I'm sitting in my comfortable recliner,
nice.
couple of them behind me, bookshelf behind me,
Yep.
and one of my friends, Krista, is watching us, which is great. Thank you, Krista. And
Hello.
before we get on to food,
Yep.
um, one of the things. So here's a question for the group and for you, Michele. So
Okay.
one of the things that we haven't thought of, and we've thought about it, like we're learning as we go, is for her 5 o'clock and having a family and young children is right at dinner.
Yeah.
So the request was, is there the possibility of doing it like at 5:36 or whatever? And I told her, and I had one other person ask you, and I said, like, you know, we ask and we find out. So in the East Coast is 9 o'clock too late? 9 to 10, I think, is probably too late. But and so we'll leave that for the group, people that listen to it. Maybe we'll post it.
Yep.
Well, how does that work for you? Do you have anything else after this?
So, uh, yes and no, but
Maybe.
I can make it work. So, like, I work my day job till 4:30, and then I do a wellness meeting from 5 till 7:30. But like I have a lot of puffers. I do. I have like a month, so I have an hour of like lung physio I have to do every night. But if we're moving it to 9, I could do that from 8 to 9.
Okay.
So I'm still open. I need an hour window, and I can't do it at 11 o'clock at night. You will
No.
notice the difference.
Well, here's what I would say. So for the group, and then we'll post it.
Yeah.
And we want to accommodate everybody. And, the reality is it's available recorded, but some people like to be involved with live. Like I said, I'm watching our group to see if there's any group chat going on. And the if we, and maybe 5:30 to 8:30, half an hour is a good compromise, maybe not, but we'll figure it out. But I want to make sure we're coast to coast. So
Exactly.
what's going on, right? So
Well, and I've always been had it top of mind, 5 o'clock at your end is, yeah, like it's a good thing you have the flexibility to make sure that you're home, right? Because you're like, you don't work out of Chilliwack, do you? Don't you, like, isn't
Yeah.
your office in Vancouver or something?
Yeah. So for people who don't know me, as you're getting to know me and Michelle more and more, my background was a chef, and I had some restaurants that I owned and been in the food service. And I went and worked for big food distributors like Cisco, and so I've got that kind of component. We'll talk about during today's live, but I work for a coffee company now, so I sell a legal drug, caffeine, um, and
Way to
I
switch it up.
yeah, and I basically my responsibility. I'm a territory manager. I got a huge area from here to Vancouver, so I've got like a big territory, and my job is to bring on profitable partners, and I do that really well. I think I was one of the top one or two in the country in our last national thing. But I treat people with respect in that. So I can work from home. I'm on the road, but I manage my own time. So I'm fine to set this aside. I don't have. I get my son on weekends, and he's 17, so he's pretty easy.
Mm,
Plays games on the computer with his buddies, right?
right, right.
But yeah, I can work out any time for me. It's not a problem.
Okay, good. Yeah, so we're flexible, and I totally agree what you're saying. Even though, it's on YouTube, which we haven't really promoted too much. And then that it is recorded, we like the interaction as well, right?
Yeah.
Especially like not other top, but like with this topic, I want to know what your coupon sharing apps are, that sort of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Different things where we can educate and share with each other. Because I think there's nobody that's not noticing how expensive things are. Because the more you make, the more your debts are. We still, at the end of the day, tend to have the same amount of disposable income that's left, right?
Yeah, and I think we just had in the news out here again. I think I don't know what's going on. They're appealing to the government, but chicken. I don't know how's out east, but chicken is going to go up between 50 and 60%. And so the farmers are saying it's because feed has gone up and all that. And I understand that because I know that side of the industry.
Sure.
But what they don't understand is that people won't eat chicken; they'll eat pork now, or they'll find an alternative, right?
Yeah.
Because if you can't afford it, you can't afford it,
Yeah, well, that's it, right? And I
right?
don't know about where you are, but here, like, because the food banks are running low, all the lineups and people, we have different, excuse me, different community pages where it's free stuff. Like, I love it. It's great, right? So many people stepping up to the plate and helping and being awesome. But it's so sad that they're like, I am only allowed to go to the food bank I'm just using this for an example, like every 10 days or something. So they're like literally checking off the spots they can go and then trying to maneuver, the bucks that they do have. So it's definitely it's a time like I've never experienced in my life, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think, sorry for all the fidgeting. I'm propping my phone up with a box of Kleenex, a remote control, a
Right?
wallet in the front so it doesn't fall down. I have like stands to put my phone on, but I'd have to get up and I'm tired. No. Yeah, and so food banks are another thing too. Is you're right. We're finding out
Yeah.
um, that they are incredibly bare. One of the things that was in the news, and Michelle had, and you can share more about it, but Michelle had a show that she was doing. I think it was a radio show called In the Know. Was it radio?
A radio
And
and on live on Facebook. Yep.
yeah, and so it was great. I loved it, and I was able to go on, and I was nice for most of the time, outside of being silly. But but in the know, one of the things Michelle did, and she was really good, is she was a good investigator, her and her partner,
Mm,
and so you know, we want to find out, like with this world of information, I say technology information. there's things that are shared like in the news and that are misconstrued to some degree, but we want to find out. So something for you to check out, and I think it was, shoot, I don't know if it was Safeway or Loblaws, but what they did is they are doing after 6 or 7 o'clock, they are discounting prices of their food, their perishable. When we were in England, that with all these, broadline stores in England, that's what they did. They would have, and it was funny because the people we lived with were like, they were, I was gonna say the cheapest of the cheapest. That's not fair. They were bargain hunters. And as an example, you can go in, and I'll use our money, not English money, but you can go in the daytime, and for a bunch of bananas, it'll cost you $1, right? We'll say, making up a number, right? You go in after 7, and to whatever how long they have them, 2 days, whatever like their thing is, you go in after 7, from 7 to 9, it'll cost you 10 cents for those bananas.
Wow, that's like day old donuts, right? I love it.
I'm going to look it up for you, and I'm going to share it on the group because it was a Canadian company, and it was like a national company that said, we are going to start doing this.
Okay. Yeah,
I'll look
definitely post it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're all about mental wellness. If you're monetarily stressed, it's going to mess with your mindset. And then another part of it as well is that if you're in, it's so interesting as a wellness coach, whenever people come and they join or they rejoin or whatever, and the first, like, so they'll come back like week 2, week 3, and I'll say, what have you noticed? What's the first thing you've noticed? Well, they're not, dropping a ton of weight initially because it's small changes, but the first thing they always notice, clarity of mind, because it's all the chemicals, all the whatever. And I don't
Yeah.
want to be like a big negative Nelly, but this is the world we live in. And there's a lot of money they can save by doing things to foods, or there's different things that we expect as a culture, like we expect orange juice to be orange. We expect, like, if you've ever, and you probably have, Tom, if you've ever been to like Mennonite market, the meat doesn't look like what we think it should look like, right? And we look at it there, and because that happened to me outside of Kitchener, I went to the St. Jacobs market. This was, oh my gosh, 30 years ago. And I remember looking, thinking, that's disgusting. They're selling bad ground beef. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad, it didn't have the coloring in it. So all those things. And I'm not, saying everybody should read labels, that sort of thing, but just, start slow and steady like everything, and just start looking at the least ingredients, the better. Sugar. I shared a video this week on, it's got a lot of information on sugar. Very bad for your mindset, besides everything else, because that's our focus. It really is going to affect our mindset. And then, you feel sad and down. And sometimes you mentioned last week about, having a bowl of ice cream or whatever. Have the bowl of ice cream, just don't eat the whole container. It's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
Well, what I was going to do, but I didn't do it because I had some different running around to do before I got here, is I was going to make, so I have my son Friday night till Sunday.
Yeah.
And on those days, he likes Subway. We make homemade burgers and stuff like that. So those are kind of bit of my cheat days. I still go to the gym 3, 4 times a week, but I make, and what I was gonna do, I didn't have time. I'll maybe post it. I
Yep.
was gonna post. You've seen my food pictures, right?
Yeah.
So I do a salad. So say I'm using romaine, cucumbers, cherry tomatoes. I cook up some chicken thighs that I pre-cook for the week. I'll buy we have Freshco here. I don't know if you have a thing called Freshco. It's kind of a cheaper Safeway, like a value. And so I'll buy like a package of chicken thighs for like $12. It'll be like 8 or 10 of them, right? I cook them all. And then during the week, my dinner is chicken on lettuce with tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and cucumbers with the dressing. And even if I like a little bit more dressing, I'm offsetting it, right? So like you said about cheating, the battle for food or anything, like we'll rationalize, we'll like we're trying to learn on this group. We want to help and work towards better disciplines. And you just said it, one step at a time. And if you take a step and then you take a break for 2 weeks, and that's what you do. You don't beat yourself up. That's the worst thing you can do, right?
That's exactly right. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. No matter what it is you're working on, baby steps for the win. If you set the bar too high, you're going to fail. And then you go down those dark roads of blame and shame and everything else. And then a slip turns into a slide. So you're like, well, I ate all the chocolate ice cream and there's some chocolate mint in there, right? Or
Yep.
whatever. And you just like, screw it. So perspective, right, really matters.
Yeah, and I think too, there was a saying I tried to send Michele. So Michele, remind me at the end. I have the quote. It's a Tom
Oh,
quote.
okay,
I
great.
I did look it up to see if it. I looked up quote and my saying, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I think I'm. It's so simple. It's kind of crazy, stupid. But I think I'm the original. I'll take credit for it. But I tried to send Michele a slide, but I sent a publisher. But there's a guy I can't remember, and I mean, there's lots of guys I listened to over the years for just to be healthy or help, right? And there was a guy that was talking about creating habits, and it was a thing about like start a habit, no, start an action, create a habit, start a habit, create a lifestyle. And it goes through these steps. You don't go all of a sudden from 0 to 100. It just doesn't happen.
That's right.
But part of it is believing. I post something. Part of it's going, you know what? I don't care if I gave up yesterday, or you sit there and go, and you do this really well, is you encourage people, say, you know what? This is what the deal is. I don't care if I fell down yesterday. I deserve to I deserve to do the best that I can for me, because I deserve it. I'm worth it.
That's right.
And you work towards it. It takes time.
Absolutely. And as long as you're, better today than you were yesterday, you're going in the right direction. Even if it's funny, because we have topics, right? And that we discuss and a lot of training. And the one week, the topic, which is never a highlight for me, was activity. And because we know I don't run, but the step one was driving into the parking lot of the gym. And then you can leave. You did right. And then the next week, getting out of your vehicle, walking in. Like it's those that it sounds so funny and everybody like sort of chuckles at the beginning, but the struggle is real. Sometimes, right? Just thinking through that whole, I gotta get there, I gotta park, I gotta walk in, I have to face people. Then you think about every video you ever saw about a terrible personal trainer that's blowing your hair back, yelling at you. Like it's a preconceived idea that isn't even real because you don't have to get a trainer. You don't have to, right?
Yeah.
But it's the way we think these things sometimes.
Well, you know what it is too. It's funny because I had a trainer because I needed one, and then I don't need him. I see at the gym all the time. So you don't. He goes, and he's a really good guy, right? He was
Yep.
300 pounds. I told you he was 300 pounds, and he's like 175.
Hmm.
Used to work in the oil industry. He's actually, he's going to check out us on the YouTube's on the recording.
Yep.
But and I mentioned you might have him, have a share time with him. But
Sure.
he was 300 pounds, worked in the oil industry, made tons of money, like crazy money, and was able to buy all the pleasure and vices and distractions he wanted. And he realized with all that he wasn't happy. And then he got control of his life. He's married with kids. His wife is a school teacher, and now he works at a factory in where I live. And he's a trainer in gym, and he's really good. And he's one of those guys that cheers you on, and he pushes you too. Like I'll do a weight. He goes, okay, just one more. You can do it. But he doesn't like yell at me. Come on, what are you doing? So we need, in this journey, we need people that on any part of this journey, people that encourage us and champion us. Because sometimes we're not the best at doing that for ourselves. We give up.
we're, we're the worst. If only we talk to ourselves the way we talk to our best friend or our
Yeah.
family
Hear
or
that? I remember you should. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
that's okay. I was done. I'm done. I'm so done.
So tell us about the topic that you chose.
Okay, so I made a slide. Haha. Okay,
What
so
is
I don't want to talk about this for 8 hours, so I made a slide. I'm going to run down it and then I'll share it on the Facebook page for later. But Tom, please interject and I'll try not to drag it out too long. So here is, can you see it?
well, let me bring it on. I'll be able to see it I'm on my phone because we can't get my camera to work on my laptop, but now I could see it. I had my
Perfect.
laptop. Go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to share it and I won't like over talk about all the different things, but please share in there. So the first thing that I wanted to just talk about meal planning. A lot of times that sort of people feel heavy when you think about meal planning, but when you're doing meal planning, if you can sit down like Tom, how you happen to say that you get a big pack of chicken and then you break it up, right? Doing stuff like that, thinking about, what you can utilize in different meals so that you're not buying like four kinds of cheese. You can buy one kind of cheese and put it in all the meals and make it work for you, right? The other thing that ties in with that is prepping your food. So it always makes me think of carrots because I can't tell you how many times, and again, frugal Michelle versus wellness coach Michelle, buying carrots. Okay, that's absolutely fabulous. I'll buy the carrots that are unpeeled because they're cheaper. Great strategy. But if I don't peel them, I end up throwing them out because they go bad in the crisper and I don't access them. So that's another thing, thinking about prepping your food. Another thing when you're thinking about prepping your food is making sure that you have snacks handy. I don't know, do you do that when you're driving around, Tom? Do you make sure you have snacks in your car so you're not cruising through a drive-through?
So what I do intermittent fasting off and on, but I've been doing that for a few years because I had, for those that know or don't know, I had stomach cancer, I had colon cancer, right? So things like carrots and all these wonderful things that are good, I can eat them, but my body doesn't absorb any nutrients from it because I don't have a large intestine, right? So for me, those type of snacks in the car are, I mean, it's a mouth thing, right? But what I do, I normally eat, I eat a snack around 4, and then when I get home, and then I'll eat, or if I go to the gym in the morning, I might have a smoothie, but I really don't eat. The only meal I really eat consistency is a dinner.
Oh, okay. And you have it at dinner time or at lunchtime?
No, I'll have my dinner like today as an example. I have coffee in the morning, so I'm a coffee guy. So I have a latte, so I'm getting whatever, and I make it at home, and then I just drink a ton of lemon water. I might get a tea later in the day. If I go to the gym, I'm trying to be a little bit better at replenishing some of my electrolyte. You know what I mean, right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
now this is my next stepping up for this year is I've created the habit of going to the gym and I do my workout, but now I'm stepping it up.
Right, right, right.
Oh, the
Excellent.
food thing, yeah, the food thing. I don't. I had energy bars or I had like
Mhm.
healthy,
Yeah.
but like stuff like nuts and that stuff that would be good for you, or like again, my body doesn't break them down, right? So I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting the same thing. And then I have one of the prescription I have. This is whatever. I'm being a little bit transparent here. So one of the things I have is I my mouth dries up really bad with one of the prescriptions I'm on. So I actually have sugar-free gum that I basically chew all day. And and if I don't, my mouth totally dries out. Like bad. It's one of the drugs I'm on,
That
one
give you
of the
stomach
prescriptions.
aches?
What's that?
Does that give you stomach aches with sugar-free gum?
Nope.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah. Anyways, back to you. So you were asking about my
Okay.
snacks, and I couldn't tell you what
Yeah.
you were.
So it's interesting. The reason why I asked if you have dinner at dinner time is because a lot of countries have their big meal at dinner time, and that sustains them because, and it sort of makes sense. I was just curious. So the next thing, create new meals out of leftovers, right? A lot of times, people don't do that. They end up with leftovers in the fridge. You're bored of it or whatever. So maybe mixing it up. So like I put an example there. If you have spaghetti on night one, you can use it for spaghetti casserole on night two. Very similar, but you're using it up, you're not wasting it. The next thing is eat what is in season. So visit your farmer's market if it's open all year round, or like here we have a Sarnia produce, so you can get what's in season. Also look for seconds, right? The not so pretty carrots, right? Go ahead and grab those. Another thing is choosing your portions. So what I put on there is, if you can get big portions so you're saving money and divide them up and freeze them, that's great. But sometimes, especially when it comes to fruit, that sort of thing, it's okay to go and just get a plum. I do that. I'll go, and Al likes a lot of different fruit. So I'll go and I'll just get one or two of different things that he likes. He's happy. And again, I'm not getting mad at myself because I don't have a lot of money for groceries, but I'm throwing things out, right? That's what you don't want to do. The next one I put is check for deals in advance. Now, I had put something on the Facebook page about that because I was looking for ideas. So, like, and it's as far as apps go. Now, somebody had put on there that they use the Flip app, but we're in a time where there's so many things online where you can find coupons, you can do price matching. Also, but I threw that last line in there. If you're spending all your savings and gas going to 10 different stores, though, that's not cost effective. As I was like, when I finished this all up, I actually remembered one other thing. Start thinking about friends and family that you have that can get you a friends or family discount sometimes. And of course it's not everywhere, but sometimes, like with both my jobs, I have access to that sort of thing. So that might be something else. I'm sure the next one, it's pretty common. Don't go shopping while hungry because you're going to make some terrible decisions. Look for alternatives without sacrificing joy. If something tastes like bunk, please don't eat it, right? Like we talked the other day, you asked me what I was having, and I told you I was having a grilled cheese, and I can't eat it without real butter. It brings childhood memories, right? And it makes me think as well, and to each their own, but there's such a push for a meatless society, right? If that doesn't give you joy, don't consume it, right? The next one, check out frozen foods as an alternative, such as frozen fruit, because it's going to last for longer. So that's a good option. Freeze what you can. So even if it's like a half a loaf of bread, if you live by yourself and you don't need a whole loaf of bread, you can always, and again, this is as per your own preferences. Some people, like my son Alec, he won't freeze a loaf of bread. He says he doesn't like the way it tastes. Do you know what I mean? I would freeze cheese, but I would use it differently as I freeze it because it's crumbly. So keep that in mind, right? So that's another thing to think of when we're trying to stretch out our money. Stock up when you can. So if you can build up on things that are on sale, I just said that to Robert. He went and got me groceries when I was at work. And that's what I said to him. I need to do like a cans on sale order and just, stock some stuff up. Next one, be label smart. Often no name or alternative brands have exactly the same ingredients. but the price is lower. I find the same thing in medicine, is that if I go to like Shoppers, the last thing I went for is one of the guys, they have a lot of issues with their backs because of the jobs they do. So I went to go, I think it's for Boxall or something it's called. The no name, I checked the ingredients, it was literally the same thing. So keep that in mind. And sometimes, and I find this with chicken noodle soup, since I pay attention to my salt consumption, I find Campbell's chicken noodle soup really salty. I lean towards the no name. I get more joy out of it and I save a little bit of money. And so that's another thing. Stick to your list or shop online. I still shop online ever since COVID, and I'm an impulse shopper. I save a fortune. I'm not saying I never go into a store, but I save a fortune shopping online because I'm not getting sucked into the buy one, get one sale or whatever that is. So if that works for you, it might help you reduce the impulse buying. The other thing is scanning different shelves. I'm sure you've found, Tom, as well. You'll see something like at the end of a row and it looks like a really good deal, but then you go to the actual row and there's better deals. Like we can't assume that they are presenting things honestly. That's the polite way to say that, right? The next
Yeah.
one,
Go
right? Go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, you
Yep.
go.
No, you finish. I'm saving. I'm making notes.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say the next one is your forte more than mine, to try cooking from scratch.
Good. Okay. So here's the thing. I did share a couple of. I was Google searching while Michelle was talking, and I did share one called Save.ca and another one called Checkout 51. So
Good.
check them out.
Yeah.
So again, we understand that people that are watching this now, and then people that are going to watch us down the road. Everybody's looking for information that will help us, and it could be mentally, physically, financially, all of those components, right? Mentally. And so we understand that we have people on a different financial situations, right? I I'm going to use the word triggered. So when Michelle was talking about the frugal part, whatever, I'm going back into England. I hope none of my friends in England are watching, but because I'm an ex chef, good food is really important to me, and clean food.
Yeah.
Eating and carrots is fine. I'm going to put on here, and if we share something, we're not sharing it to sway you anyway. We're just share what we know. There's on Netflix a show called Rotten,
Oh yeah.
and it's not trying to make you become vegan. It's not like a lot of those documentaries I find are there's kind of a hidden agenda. I don't like hidden agendas, right? But one of the things they talk about is these things like allergies and these different things that we battle today that we didn't battle 40 or 50 years ago, right? So back to the food. So being frugal and being wise is incredibly important. So here's the thing. Here's a couple of the tidbits I throw from my end.
Yeah.
Number one, know your budget.
Yeah.
And the challenge is if you think this is probably really low, but I'm going to go low on purpose, right? We should know if we want to be frugal and smart on everything. We should know money in and money out, and don't like there's no sense lying to yourself. Like, you can go, oh, I'm there's two things we don't like to do. We don't like to look in the mirror at ourselves because we see our flaws. And then we have this mental battle. You need to look in the mirror and love yourself. You know what? I'm important. I don't care. I don't care that I have this wound and an ostomy bag from cancer. I hate it, by the way, but I don't care because I look in the mirror. I'm worth the hard work that I'm trying to do, right? Back to our finances for those that wrestle with finances. We don't want to look at our finances. We don't want to look at our little change purse and see 2 pennies, a nickel. There's no pennies anymore. 2 pennies, a nickel, a dime, and a quarter, right? and so, but if knowledge is king, right? So say somebody has, say there's a family of two and your budget's $100 a week. Does $100 a week sound like a lot for you, Michelle?
No, what?
100 for your family. So I'm going to use you. I'm going to interview you now.
Yeah.
How many live in your house?
Uh, three, oh my gosh, holy cow. Four adults full-time with two kids most weekends.
Okay. So what do you spend or what's your budget for food for a week? I know you say it depends what you make, right?
Well, no, I'm not a good example because everybody pitches in here.
Okay.
Like
But
we're like hippies.
but you're shopping. So say for the house, whoever chips in, so not you personally, is it fair to say, oh my word. See, for me, if I was consulting somebody on a budget, right?
Yeah.
That many people, like I'm just being average, like to me, that sounds like it, and I'm talking toilet paper and toothpaste, all that stuff. I'm thinking, man, it's probably at least 200, maybe 250 a week.
Oh, easy,
Yeah. And,
easy.
and what happens is when our when we come into the situation we're in now, where everything's going up, like in my coffee industry, we have people that are like, say, work at a doctor's office, like a secretary, whatever. Well, they would have a latte in the morning every day and at night, and in the afternoon. That was their like get out of the office type thing, right? Well, now they go, well, I can only afford to have a latte in the morning, and then maybe twice a week I'll have an afternoon one or whatever, right? Because now we're looking at disposable income. And
Right.
with food, like Michelle's saying, here's what the challenge with outside of produce, like outside of commodities.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that they're going to put on special is either getting close to expiry dates, and I'll share something about that in a minute. But it's 90, in my opinion, a lot of it is stuff that's not the greatest for you. Um,
Oh,
and it may
absolutely.
be, and like to have a box of Kraft dinner once in a while, who cares? Or a hot dog, like again, I'm not judging, or don't judge me, right?
No.
But to me, I think, and you got to research this. Don't just trust me. The cleaner you learn to eat, and people are fearful, like, oh, like I don't know how to, like they don't appeal to care, but I don't know how to make a soup. I'm going to do a video down the road. Remind me, Michelle. I'm gonna videotape myself making soup.
Yeah,
I
good.
can I can make almost any soup, like within reason, not like a barley soup or something like that. I can make pretty much any cream soup or any soup within 20 minutes.
Good. Yeah.
And when we were in England, you know what they did lots? If you do this, Michelle, they slow cooked everything. Everything was thrown in a slow cooker all day.
Mhm.
And again, you can do that. And, pork, say pork's on special at your local butcher, or you're, down at a Save On. Do you have Save On there?
No, I don't think so.
Safeway?
I
What's
don't,
your
I don't think so.
Walmart? You have Walmart, right?
Oh yeah, we got Walmart. I laughed, Tom, because you might not know this, but my parents that adopted me, British.
Yep.
My mom actually had the original Yorkshire pans. She was from Yorkshire.
Love.
So that was, yeah, except for the liver, kippers, and toast and sardine sandwiches, it was fabulous.
Yeah, it was. And I can say something to be silly. Like we have like we accept each other, whatever. When we went to England, they had like they had steaks that were called certain steaks that I've never heard of, and I'm a chef, right? And
Yeah.
then they had bangers and mash. I know what they
Yeah.
were, right? They have like what they call meatballs or faggots.
Mhm.
And yeah, and so when we went there and learning the language that represented the food, mostly like meals and that is just different, right? But back to the food thing, like so, and you guys can bombard us with stuff. Like I will do everything in my power, so Michelle, to help all of us
Yeah.
to better resource what we have, right?
That's
And if we like like I don't know, we're all busy. I'm assuming, right? Pre-prepping food. Where I live in Chilliwack, here we're like the corn capital of Canada, I think, and we have blueberry. Like we have beautiful fruit. Well, when it's fresh and local, buy it and freeze it.
yeah.
And And when you become more confident in meal planning, like I said, I can do simplistic, like I can show people how to have the same protein and vegetables or a starch, and you could do 3 or 4 dishes, like you said, about the same thing. You can buy chicken thighs
Mm,
and you could stir fry, and you could do a Caesar salad or chicken salad, whatever you do, right? And so part of it, when we become more confident, a lot of time people wrestle with, well, what about seasoning? Well, and you're maybe a bit more expert on that than me, but like at home, honestly, Montreal steak spice is fine. Like having a blend, I can make my own, but like my son likes the keg burger spice,
mm.
so it's pre-done and it's what he likes, right? But I'm not super rich, and I'm not like I'm probably a bit of a food snob, just a bit, but I'm not a food snob where you have to like you, even if you're a food snob, you got to live within your means, right?
That's
So
right.
part of it is going, okay, and our bodies, what we put in our minds and our bodies and how we take care of our bodies is important. And what we did yesterday doesn't matter. What we do today matters, and what we're trying to set up for tomorrow matters. But again, if you're somebody, these single mom families I helped years ago, I had a restaurant in Penticton, and we did a class there. I think it was through EI or something like that, or not EI, it was social services, some like government thing, right? And we basically, they had like back then $50 a week to eat.
Oh, absolutely. I remember that when my kids were young and I was on mother's allowance. And
Yep.
yeah, and it's funny actually, we were just talking about that the other day, how I would budget the whole month's of groceries out of my check and I'd have to make it work. And then even when I went, then I started waitressing. So finagling my way through that, a lot of craft dinner, a lot of stuff that, but I wasn't as knowledgeable then as I am now. And I was also in a different economic group. Absolutely, right? So you do the best you can with the education that you have, but having, I think, different tips and tricks. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
and what
definitely.
you've got there, if one thing triggers, gives you a good trigger, by the way, one thing starts to thought, oh yeah, I got to check into that.
Yeah,
Oh, like prepping. If you've got young kids, having if it's a Sunday afternoon, a prep day, we're gonna go pick up what we need: vegetables, meats, meal planning. I'm not a good meal planner because I'm by myself during the week, right? I don't need to meal plan anyways, but the concept of meal planning I understand. Like I ran restaurants, I own restaurants, right?
for
But
sure.
you but
Absolutely.
you start to become more confident, and all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah,
I can do this.
that's
And
exactly.
I was going to say, for what you're talking about, like for me, if there's like our store out here that's big right now, it's called Freshco. It's a subsidiary of Safeway, and it's like, and this is what I've noticed too. It's their, they have the expiry date is closer to the end there than like at Safeway. Safeway, and you pay a premium Safeway, right? But them and even Walmart, you're finding somebody put on there that you're finding like markdown sections and that. So those things are happening, right? But again, if you go buy carrots that are going to be, they're on for 99 cents a bag, you know what? Go buy 2, 3 bags, prep them, put them
Oh,
in the freezer.
absolutely. And another thing I just want to mention, just going back to the list here for a second, utilize the dollar store and the Dollar Tree. They have a lot of things. They have bread, they have a lot of name brand. Like, it's so funny. They like manwiches. I say they, like, I like them too, but the house likes manwiches. And struggle to find the manwich sauce. I can always find it at the dollar store, right? And it's that brand. And so this is where sometimes a little humbling of self, right? Instead of thinking, really, I'm getting groceries at the dollar store. Well, aren't you a smarty pants getting some groceries at the dollar store? Because they're all there. And when you look, of course, there's some weird knockoff names that you might not want to go near, but there's a lot of name brand stuff that they've brought in, probably because things aren't a dollar anymore. So still take heed. Like if it's $4, it might not be a sale, but think about that. Think about other options, especially when it comes to the toilet paper, the paper towel. You're doing the prepping. Where are you getting the bags from? Dollar store, Dollar Tree,
Well, the other
right?
thing I'll say, I don't know if you do this, Michelle. Do you go to Costco?
No, it's an hour away.
Yeah. So for me, so again, I'm a bit of a snob, right? And because of how I have to take care of myself, my gut and stuff, Kirkland toilet paper
Hmm.
was a go-to. And here it's like just went up to like it's $21 for like a large pack. So again, one of the things Costco's successful at, and they have like their prices are decent, but they're trying to get you in bulk. So you
Right.
buy two peanut butters for $7 instead of buying one bigger one at wherever store you go to for $5.
Right.
But what Michelle's saying about dollar store and all that, be aware of these things. Now, the only thing I'm going to throw in there because I'm a food snob, I'll own it, right? Is if you for a healthy mind and healthy body, and don't beat yourself up. So start if all we eat is processed foods, and here's the problem: like
That's right.
I I know people who can't afford anything. Like they can afford a bag of potatoes and onions and carrots, but they can't afford fresh stuff, right? Or like, and and the ones like I'm thinking of like homeless people or thinking of seniors. I know I still know seniors that have to go buy. They go to the dollar store and they buy pet food.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
So part of it, you know your financial, be aware of your financial situation, and then subsidize, like Michelle's saying, and kind of I'm saying, find that happy medium. Going, hey, I can compromise this.
Yep.
Like some people go, I don't care about toilet paper, and so I'm like, I need a 3-ply, and I don't care. Anyways, I'm being a snob, right? But you may go like, I don't care about the pasta. Go to the dollar store.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
care.
Well, it's the same brand you're buying at the metro or wherever you're going. But if I can just add to that, um, if you like when you're buying the empty calorie food, you're hungry 7 minutes later, right? And that's the one thing I just want to point out I put on here. We waste a lot of money on items that don't sustain us. So items that are high in protein, and it's too bad about the chicken prices going up because
Yeah,
like chicken, high in protein helps you feel full, right? Eggs, almonds, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. I actually had a lady share I don't like cottage cheese, but she shared in one of my Zoom groups the other day. Take a package of Jello and mix it with a cup of hot water, then mix it in with cottage cheese, put it in the fridge. Very healthy and nutritious. Does not taste like cottage cheese. It tastes more like a pudding or some sort of like a smoothie, right? So that would keep you feeling full though. Like when you're having Chinese food is the worst one in my mind. You eat
yeah.
it and then an hour later you're hungry again. That's not going to help you when you're living on a budget.
And habitually, like the habits we form. So for me, what I said earlier, I'm kind of I do kind of this intermittent fasting, right? So I'll have dinner between 5 and 7 usually,
Yep.
and it could be during the week, Monday to Thursday. It's almost always salad with a protein, but and sometimes I I don't do what I want to do, but a lot of times I'll just make popcorn and popcorn, even though it
Burns.
doesn't fill me, it's this habitual
Yeah,
habit of putting something in my mouth, right?
that's exactly.
And and in it, yeah, like you said, here's a funny story. So I worked at Cisco, so I dealt with companies like Heinz and Kraft and Campbell's and all that. So I had the privilege of going down to the States to the Heinz ketchup factory
Oh yeah.
down in San Diego. So this is what they do. And actually, my company does this for coffee. We do some private label coffee that we roast, right? So Heinz runs all the Heinz ketchup. So they have their runs and their label and their machines. Then at the end of the run, they change the labels, machines, and they'll have like pretty much the same formula. So Cisco had a Cisco brand ketchup that we sold to restaurants. It's Cisco brand. It's being made by Heinz in their factory, and tastes like 99. Like you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's not like a Coke and a Pepsi thing, right?
Yep.
And the price point is probably 20% cheaper.
Yeah. That's no
So,
name in a nutshell. Yep.
so, but the other thing, I think you said this. I don't remember how you said it, where it was. You know, you're going to eat what you like. So, like, be aware of that. Like the cottage cheese and Jello made me want to like not even eat it more. I hate cottage cheese.
So do I.
I don't. I don't like
You like Jello?
head cheese with pigs' faces and all that stuff in a gelatin. Look it up. Head cheese is disgusting.
Oh, thank you. No, I
It's
don't
called the
need
pig punch. Yeah, it's got protein in it though. It's good for you.
no, I like chicken.
Yeah.
I like boiled eggs. That's my snack.
But and like you said, spend the time to and have it, make it a fun journey to go, okay, this is what I've experienced up to today. Now, Tom and Michele said something. Michele said some things. I'm going to go check this out. But here's the thing: if you don't try something different, if all you do is the same stuff,
That's right.
and that saying we all hate but we know, different results in the same things is insanity, right? Begin little bits of changing. So food, figure out like on a budget again too. Like if you got a budget, go, okay, what can I get? Deals, like look for your local grocery store, like especially your protein and produce and vegetables and farmers market are great depending where you live. But supporting local, I think, is good too. But sometimes it feels like it's more expensive. The other thing too about clean eating, just to give people a heads up, you actually, like if you had say chicken, say you did roasted chicken thighs or breast, doesn't matter, and you did some potatoes and vegetables, right? That you'll eat less and you'll feel more full doing that than any processed foods.
That's exactly right.
And I have a background in processed food, so I know, and like that's that's how they make money. The ingredients they have in it to make it shelf stable, but they have ingredients in it that make you want to go back for more.
That's right. There's a reason why Doritos has a science team. And that's so that they can do that combination between sweet and salty or whatever the newest flavor is to get you to come back for more. It is, it's so, I have to tell you, honestly, it's so frustrating as a wellness coach because I work with 200 people a week. And the first thing they walk into when they hit the super center is, Christmas chocolates that are left over on sale. Then they go to the Valentine's row. Then there's chips. Like it's just, we do not live in a world that promotes or helps us sustain a wellness journey. So it's really up to us to do it ourselves and do the legwork and be the community that says, hey, like I just want to sort of mention, somebody mentioned on the page, and I'm so sorry I didn't grab your name, about Instagram page called Meet Dad. And I guess it's a guy that's on Instagram. I wrote it down because I'm going to look it up. And he teaches you how to cook, how to cut your meat properly. So if it's more economical to get, say, a full, just for an example, a full roast or something, then cut it down yourself, right? Like a lot of people get intimidated by that, but having somebody, and you can find everything on YouTube or Instagram, following
100%.
somebody like that, right? I love it. So thank you to the gentleman who shared that. I'll
That
remember
was
next time.
that was Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Woo woo, Josh.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
here's a couple of things, and we were having fun talking, but it's 6 o'clock, so we're gonna finish up.
We're good. Yep.
So I'll save my quote for the end. But so here's the thing, and I just looked it up, and if you want it, I'm not going to share. You can go look it up yourself. So
Okay.
my company, a coffee company or a coffee roaster. So one of the things that's really big now in the coffee industry, if you like your fancy drinks, is lattes and all that, but it's milk alternatives, right? So we have soy milk. Well, soy milk, they realize there's issues with soy milk for women. So so whatever. I don't know all it. There's almond milk. Well, nut allergies. There's what's really big now is oat milk. And my company, we have a manufacturer. We sell it. Oat milk has replaced all those other ones, almond, coconut, and all that, right? And actually, the oat milk is made in the Fraser Valley where I live, but it's taken over the North American and global market. I think it's taken like 50% of the market share. But now with all these allergies or whatever, well, there's a new company we deal with. It's called Notco, Notco. Look it up if you're interested in the world of what's happening with food. So we have a product called Not Milk, and Not Milk is gluten free. It's nut free, it's dairy free, and it is made in a lab. And it is the company Notco is a company from Argentina, I believe, and they have some of the richest people in the world, billionaires, that help them with the science of food. The reason they're doing this, so outside of all the chemical stuff that I find interesting but annoying,
Yeah.
the reason they're doing it is they're looking in the future. I think Jeff Bezos is one of the investors. Like them or not, it doesn't matter. But they have like big money behind it, right? But they do not chicken, not milk, not meat or beef or whatever, right? And what's happening in our global world? So what are we at? 4.5 billion people, I think.
It's
Our
like
planet.
9. I don't know.
Oh, look! I gotta look it up now. You look it up while I'm
I'm
talking.
not looking it up.
Okay, look it up, people, then tell us so we know we're telling the truth, right? So
Oh,
what's happening? What's happening in the world? Like there is people like me and other people that we're forward thinkers. So we're thinking like I pre-plan for work and then I adjust to what the days look like, but I have to have a plan, right? So what's happening in the world today is they're realizing that the planet, the sustainability of food on the planet, like wheat and different things like that, uh, it's not going to sustain humanity in 20 years. So so some of these things like not chicken and not meat or not beef as an example, it's got like not chicken, even though it's really expensive in the stores now, but they're using science and insane scientists that like I could never eat it because it's too weird for me. It's a mental
not
thing.
for me. Mm.
But that's where I'll probably be gone by then, hopefully, or maybe. But because our planet and this is a whole other topic talking about our wellness planet to some degree. We will not the food source of our planet cannot sustain the food needs of our planets
I don't buy it.
down the road. Not today,
I know.
down the road.
I don't buy it.
Well, we're gonna have another conversation another time. But so with it, and these companies are going to make billions of dollars selling anything they want. So pharmacare, pharma, like all these type of things. That industry, they don't need to make food. They can make drugs and makeup and all this stuff. That's what they do, right? They own the world, right? Anyways,
Exactly.
look at
Exactly.
Nacho. Share your differences of opinion. What's fine,
Yep.
Michelle. Look at it. Give me
Absolutely.
I'm open for your thoughts.
I don't really have any. I just don't buy into it. I don't dwell on it either. I just not eating crickets, not happening. Nope. And I don't even drink regular milk because we're the only thing on the planet that drinks milk as adults. And I don't do it. And I'm not going to share why because it'll gross everybody out. But
And I'm not,
that's
and so
okay.
I'm teasing my sister in line because we could do this. Is I was telling my son the other day about eggs.
Hmm.
I said, you know what? It's kind of an unborn chicken. And he's going, Dad, I'm not going to eat eggs again. Thanks. But but the funny thing, what Michelle's saying, it's our brain. It's the way our brain's wired, right? Because if we talked about fear last week, and if you're scared of a spider, understandably,
Yeah.
but yet if you're scared of a spider that's a picture on a page, the page can't hurt you because so part of it's like, why am I scared of a spider? Oh, it's creepy. Look at its face, its eyes. It's got too many legs, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or one jumped on me when I was a kid. So we have our reasons for that, right? But here's the quote before, and
Okay.
they'll
Yeah.
let me.
Bring on the quote.
So the quote is you look at you guys look it up, and if you can find it somewhere, I looked it up, and there's there's a quote from Confucius that says, well, I'll say my quote first. My quote is, you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Hands in the air.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
That's really like too simple, right? I'm going to hashtag and own it. I'm going to get the marketing right on it. So
Do it.
Confucius says is that his saying is like, you know what you know until you know what you don't know. So it's different, same idea, right? But here's the thing: if you don't, if you just want to, and there's lots of reasons we do this, if you just want to live, and I'm going to say in your mind because I think that's where it begins. Most of it begins. If you want to live, um, let's say it this way: if you want change in your life, whatever the change is, mental health, emotional health, physical health, all of these components, right? If you're not if willing and be encouraged to make beginning to make changes that'll help you get there, you'll never get there. So the idea is we know what we know, but until like me and Michelle didn't know whatever she knows about her groups with WW until she got involved with WW,
Right.
and then you learn on the way. I've learned more about coffee and like stuff that will just bore you to death or so weird, um, that I need to know because of my job, right? But even with our mental health, I mentioned last couple of weeks back, my son taught me this word, neurodivergent, and neuro. And so I was talking to a friend who's actually watching the YouTube channels of this. She's not on social media. And she goes, "Oh, that's so weird. My doctor just said that's what I have." So, and sometimes people go, "Well, don't put a label, do whatever." So, like, however you process things, I'm not judging you. We have the freedom to our own decisions and convictions, right?
Yeah.
But if you're struggling with something and if you're not willing to investigate and look at it and figure out what you need to change, what's better for you, not everything I say or you, Michelle says, or whatever, you're not going to change. You're going to be in that boat. And silly example, if you want to learn how to swim, you got to kind of get out of the boat, right? And I don't like water. I can swim, but I'm not a water guy.
Yeah, everybody wants to save some money though, and
Yeah.
feel
So
good.
with food, and here's the good thing what Michelle shared and stuff that we'll probably post. If you go, I'm pretty good with it, I'm okay. That's good. Share it with somebody who needs it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Absolutely right. Yep, very good.
What do you think of my quote? It was pretty silly, right?
Oh, it was brilliant. It was so it's gonna live on for generations.
We had a tattoo of it, and
But yeah,
but
and then when you die, we'll put it on your tombstone. Is that cold? I didn't mean it to be, but
no. Well, I want you to get a necklace with my ashes in it, with the
oh,
saying. I want the sayings made of my ashes.
oh, that'd be and it could be like big bling, like I'm a rapper, right? And then we'll sing some of the songs you wrote. It's gonna
So
be
we digress, but we're the other thing too. It's sidebar, please. And we've had some comments of people sharing. You guys have been. There's somebody shared on the group about just wrestling with kind of depression and tough days, right?
yeah,
Man, I'm very proud of you as a group to encourage people on to get a little bit get out of their head, like go have a shower or do this or music or whatever, right? Laughter and joy, funny cat videos, find in the midst of stress of our budgets and mental health net, I'm telling you the gospel truth, whatever that means to you. You need to find stuff that makes you laugh. I
that's
don't care.
right.
You we laughing. Here's for somebody to look up. There is scientific proof. Look it up. I'm not telling you the secrets. That when your body laughs, some of the chemicals what it makes that does stuff. So look it up. I'm not telling. I'm not giving you a secret.
Oh
Somebody
no,
taught me.
absolutely true. And if you laugh a lot, look up oh my gosh, I lost it. Epigenetics. Epigenetics. Laughter will extend your life. Laughter, positive thinking, all that stuff. It's really new science that they're talking about now. Very interesting. But you're right. Laughter for the key. It's the best medicine. I think I made up that quote. Laughter is
Yeah.
the best medicine. I'm gonna patent that.
Patent it. Yeah, I just looked up what she said. So part of it is we live in a world where we don't believe half of what we hear, which depends on your personality, right? Which is fair. I would be cautious,
Yeah.
but like I'm like Michelle. I'm gonna use the not meat and all that. Michelle and I probably have different viewpoints, but I'm still like her going that like if I want meat, I want to eat meat. Don't call it not meat. Call it grains or call it science. I don't care because I feel when you say it's meat, I think it's meat, right? When
Yeah.
I see a hot dog, when I see a hot dog in the vegetable next to the vegetables in that thing, I'm not buying that. I'll buy the pork bits, whatever's in the other one, because I want a hot dog. I don't want trickery.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yep,
Yeah. But
absolutely.
but anyways, yeah, look, appreciate you guys jumping in and listening to us and
Share,
hopefully
share.
laughing with us.
Yeah, I love it. Very good. And we'll see you next week.
We will see you next week. Unless we don't. That's my other saying. We will see you next week unless we don't.
You know
Hashtag.
what my saying is? I'll see you when you see me.
Oh, there you go.
There you
If you got a quote that you think is original of yours, share it in our group because it's just kind of funny and silly. And
please
we
share.
won't, yeah, we won't steal it. We promise. So, okay.
We'll patent it for you. So bye.